Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Great America Show. It's great to have you with us on this beautiful day in America. Happy May 1st, folks. We're getting closer to the summer. A busy morning at the White House. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, the first member of the Trump administration to be shown the door, I should say the cabinet, to be shown the door. Waltz departed alongside with his deputy, Alex Wong. You may recall just a few weeks ago, Signalgate, which engulfed just about the entire administration. Waltz adding in Jeffrey Goldberg of The Atlantic to a group chat talking about Yemen and the Houthis and about plans that they were going to enact on the Houthis in Yemen. Now, at the time, we had thought it was extremely stupid and irresponsible on this show. Now, there were people on the right who shilled for it, and you often hear me say on this show, we're on the side of America first and truth, justice, and the American way, regardless of right and left. To me, it's more of an issue of right and wrong. Although it's being reported he wasn't fired just for the Signalgate, apparently the morale in the NSC isn't exactly where President Trump wanted it to be. A lot of people around the National Security Council not happy with the job Waltz was doing. But there are other people in the administration who are doing great jobs, such as Stephen Miller. He was up bright and early this morning to attend the press conference, the press briefing by Caroline Leavitt, talking about the first 100 days that's now in the rearview mirror. But the polling shows Donald Trump is not doing too well. I think the American people overwhelmingly disagree. Take a listen to Stephen Miller addressing that.
When you look at the sweep of the first 100 days, every single crisis that has afflicted America for years, sometimes decades, sometimes generations, this president has fought head on. He has taken on every entrenched power structure and system all across this government, this swamp, this town. That includes, of course, the DOGE efforts to slash corrupt, wasteful government spending, graft, and corruption, and to stop billions of taxpayer dollars from going to radical left NGOs. These are left-wing nonprofits that are used to advance illegal immigration, to advance open borders, to advance gender ideology, and to advance all of this insanity that has been turning our country in the wrong direction for so many years. President Trump took head on the trade crisis afflicting this country with the destruction of our manufacturing and industrial base, the shameful betrayal of the American worker by Joe Biden and the globalists that sent all of our supply chains overseas. He took head on the catastrophe of mass, unlimited illegal immigration that was turning us into a failed third world state, and achieved the lowest level of illegal immigration in recorded history without even a close second. He took on the economic crisis afflicting this country by reopening American energy, by defeating inflation, by lowering gas prices, by ending the onslaught and reversing the onslaught of federal regulation, by reopening coal, shale, oil, natural gas, and fighting now for the largest tax cut and reform, and the largest deregulation reform, and the largest energy reform in American history. These are just some of the things that have ushered in the new golden age, along with his fight to restore the peace that we had for 4 years under the previous administration before Joe Biden sunk this planet into bloodshed and war in the Middle East, in Europe, and rising tensions in Asia. President Trump, in every area of conflict around the globe, has been fighting to restore peace, security, stability, harmony. So he inherited an economic catastrophe, a border catastrophe, a public safety catastrophe, and a cultural catastrophe. And in every case, he has reversed those catastrophes and brought America into the new golden age.
Stephen Miller, absolutely brilliant. One of President Trump's smartest he's got there. Miller, of course, not able to hit every single point, but that's because of time, I'm sure. But that's what we're here for, folks. We like to bring you the facts. We like to bring you the truth to let you make your determination for yourself on how you think President Trump has done the first 100 days so far being in office. I tell you guys my opinion, but my opinion is, you know what they say about opinions. And I'm sure a lot of you guys look forward to my opinion and respect my opinion as I respect yours. But we're all individuals and we have a choice to make our own opinion, is what I'm trying to say in brief. So I want to run through some of the things that the administration has been able to get through with as much pushback as they've gotten from the Marxist Dems and these federal elected judges. Let's take, for example, first immigration and border security. President Trump, on his first day, launching the most aggressive deportation operation in history, and to this date, over 150,000 illegal immigrants, including 600 gang members of Tren de Agua and thousands of MS-13 and 18th Street gang members, have been arrested and deported. Okay? Illegal border encounters dropped by 94% from February of 2024 to 2025, with just 8,500 apprehensions in February of 2025, the lowest in 25 years. He, of course, restarted construction of the border wall, adding to the 400 plus miles that he had built in his first term. Also on his first day, he declared a national emergency at the southern border, issued orders to deploy the military and the Coast Guard to assess what was going on down there and to help the Border Patrol get things under control. He ended catch and release, implementing stricter immigration enforcement, detaining and deporting criminal illegal aliens. He's proposed merit-based immigration system, the Trump Gold Card system, which I'm sure you've all heard about, which is a visa program which hopes to raise $100 billion to people who are worthy to come to America, people who want to contribute to American society, not just come here and take jobs, low-wage jobs from American people. By low wage, 15, 20 bucks, whatever it may be, from the American people. He's also tightened up visa restrictions, targeting foreign officials facilitating illegal immigration and students linked to terrorist groups like Hamas. Marco Rubio has been spearheading that operation like no other. Let's talk about some foreign policy, right? Some national security. With Mike Waltz gone, I guess it's incumbent upon us to relay some of that for you. President Trump withdrew from global treaties. He exited the Paris Climate Accord and opposed a global taxation proposal from the Marxist Biden administration. He redesignated the Houthis as a foreign terrorist organization. Why they were ever taken off that list is beyond me. He negotiated the release of 11 hostages, unable to be done by Joe Biden. He renamed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, reasserting American dominance on the world stage. He's also increased Army recruitment, 15-year high in enlistments under President Trump in just 100 days, folks. Now, why were they leaving? I'm sure it wasn't the DEI policies that have taken shape under the Biden administration. Let's talk about the economy and trade. He went after China, implementing a 145% tariff on China on their goods, their steel, aluminum imports, sparking a trade war, but it's to protect us, the American people. He secured $5 trillion in investments, private sector investments here in America from some of the largest corporations, the largest companies around the world. He's promoted energy independence once again here, issuing executive orders on his first day to expand offshore drilling, allow energy exploration in Alaska, and to declare the National Energy Dominance Council. Because Joe Biden, for 4 years, stifled that. He stifled the American people from having cheaper energy. Why would he want to do such a thing? It's beyond me. He terminated Biden's electric vehicle mandate, ending the EV mandates and incentives, a $7.5 billion charging station program that produced only 8 stations. Is that a joke? To me, it's absolutely insanity. Lower gas prices. On average, gas prices have dropped over 6%, and that's only thanks to the increased domestic energy supply that I just mentioned to you. He established Doge. You guys all know what Doge is. Elon Musk doing a hell of a job, although should be departing soon. Unfortunately, Donald Trump telling him yesterday he's free to stay as long as he like. Thanks to Doge and President Trump, he's reduced the federal workforce. And you hear me say it every day on this show. I'll be happy and be able to sleep better at night when the federal government is no longer the largest employer in this country. When the private sector takes back over, when Walmart or Amazon, the two right behind the federal government, take back over, then I'll be happy at night. So he's downsized by 100,000 employees through buyouts and stricter performance standards. No such thing as no-show jobs anymore. This isn't The Sopranos. There's no such thing. He's reinstated merit-based hiring, ending Biden-era diversity-focused hiring practices, including in the FAA. One of the most crucial industries in this country, in the world, the aviation industry, plagued by DEI. How have we let that happen? He signed 142 executive orders, surpassing Franklin Roosevelt's record of 99, covering immigration, energy, tariffs, government efficiency. You name it, he's hit it. And he's ended all DEI programs. He's banned it in the military, in the federal government, saving an estimated $50 million previously spent on programs. Talk about a waste of money. No, nobody wants to talk about that. Marxist Dems. How about some cultural issues? He's banned transgenders from women's sports, something that should have been so simple, that should have never been in the first place. And he's going after the states who don't want to abide by it. He ended federal support for such programs as gender reaffirming care, facing lawsuits from groups like the ACLU. He kept his promise. He pardoned the January 6 defendants who were rotting in jail, nearly 1,600 people. Some of them never entered the Capitol, some of them just on the grounds, charged with the most crazy crimes that we've ever heard. People didn't enter the Capitol. They're being charged with attempts to overthrow a government. He freed them. He kept his promise. He said he was going to do it, and he did. He established the Make America Healthy Again Commission, redirecting national health policy towards prevention over disease management. Make America Healthy Again. Who would be against that? Well, I'll tell you, the Marxist Dems. He's also promoted school choice, issuing executive orders to redirect $100 billion in federal education funds to states and parents for private and charter schools. Why is that so much to ask for? Why couldn't Joe Biden do that? Why couldn't Joe Biden do it? I think it's because he was very anti-American. There's no other way to look at it, I think. You know, if you question some of the things that Biden did over the last 4 years, it makes you wonder, who was he really working for? Was he working for America? Or was he working for another country? So Trump has only signed 5 bills now. This will be the downfall. He's only signed 5 bills into law compared to the 28 in his first term, in his first 100 days. 142 executive orders. It's because the Marxist Dems want to block everything. Over 210 legal challenges have been filed against the Trump administration on actions, particularly on immigration and federal workforce cuts. I mean, 210? I've been saying this. I think if you were to look up how many lawsuits were against Bernie Madoff, the biggest scam artist of all time, the man running the largest Ponzi scheme in the history of this country, there wasn't that many lawsuits filed against him. The Trump derangement syndrome, folks, is real. These people are absolutely sick. So we just laid out what the Trump administration has been doing for the last 100 days. It's up to you to make your decision if you think it's sufficient.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. You know, I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets.
I'm interrupting this commercial to do something I've never done before. Get 2 MyPillows absolutely free on orders of $100 or more. I can't do this forever, so get on board with this great sale today. Our best-selling 6-piece bath towel sets or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Our famous standard MyPillow is only $14.98. Queens, $18.98. King size, only $1 more. Body pillows, $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bed sheet sets. Any size, any color. So go to MyPillow.com or call that number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And when you spend $100 or more, get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
In that press conference earlier, Stephen Miller didn't just hit on the first 100 days. He hit on the immigration problem that we're faced in this country. And Stephen's very important in this issue because he's been spearheading most of these deportations as it pertains to the legal aspects very good with the law, Stephen, which is why you see the Trump administration winning case after case. Take a listen to Miller on the Marxist Dems protecting these MS-13 gang members.
It is a sad reflection on the state of our media and many of the outlets represented in this room that you obsessively try to shill for this MS-13 terrorist. Well, no coverage occurred in your papers about any of the Americans that were raped and tortured and murdered by the illegals that Biden was importing into our country. You know, you talk about due process. The Biden administration made the decision to give extensive due process to 2 trained Nicaragua terrorists that were apprehended at the border just a couple years ago. They were 2 gentlemen. They were from Venezuela. They were members of trained Nicaragua. The Biden administration Border Patrol apprehended them and made the decision to provide them with extensive due process, put them onto a program known as supervised release, and put them on ankle monitors so that they could go through a lengthy legal judicial determination as to whether these legal aliens who had just set foot on U.S. soil might want to live in the United States for the rest of their lives. What was the result of that decision? What was the result of that choice that was made? Those 2 men kidnapped a young girl named Jocelyn Ungary from her family. They beat her, they sexually assaulted her, they tortured her, they stripped her, they murdered her, and they dumped her body. That is what the Biden administration's policy was. Most of your papers never covered her story when it happened. To the extent that you covered it at all, it was because President Trump forced you to cover it by highlighting it repeatedly over and over again. He had to shame you into covering it. And each and every one of you that sides over and over again with these MS-13 terrorists, to the extent that you have the financial means to do so, you all choose to live in condos or homes or houses as far away from these kinds of gangbangers as you possibly can. If I offered any one of you a rent-free home with no taxes to pay in any of these gang neighborhoods, and I said your neighbors are MS-13 terrorists or Mexican mafia or Sinaloa cartel or trained Nicaragua, I couldn't pay you to live there. But yet you, with your coverage, are trying to force innocent Americans to have these people as their neighbors, and that one day their daughter may be abducted from their home and raped and murdered. So you're not going to get an ounce of sympathy from this administration or President Trump for the terrorists who've invaded our homes and our country.
He's absolutely right. There's no better way to put it. And you often hear me say it on the show. It's the reason why Stephen Miller is so influential in this administration. Now, some Marxist Dems have went down to El Salvador, and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is starting to get the message that the American people don't support this. Poll after poll after poll. You know, that's the interesting thing, just to go off on a little tangent here, is we see President Trump's approval rating, according to Fox News and MSNBC and ABC and CNN, who, by the way, haven't put out polls since Election Day, coming out saying that his poll numbers are in the dumps. They're in the low 40s, high 30s. Yet you see polls in the high 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s% for his immigration policy. It doesn't make much sense, but nobody questions that, right? There's no reason to question that. So Hakeem Jeffries, I guess, has started to see the polling, the real polling, and he's starting to see how bad it is for members of the Marxist Dem Party to be traveling to El Salvador to promote illegal immigration, illegal aliens coming here who have been deported by the Trump administration. So he's reportedly been behind closed doors, of course, because he doesn't have the cojones to come out and say it in the public, telling the Democrats to knock off the trips to El Salvador. This week, 4 Marxist Dems traveled to El Salvador, staying at a luxury resort. Seems like good optics, right? 4 of these Democrats who never made it down to the southern border. I mean, it's totally such a joke. It is such a joke. Let's roll one more Stephen Miller clip. Kamala Harris, back in the news lately. We'll tell you what she's been up to. But on her little speaking tour last night, Stephen Miller had something to say to her. Take a listen.
The only thing Americans want to hear from Kamala Harris is an apology for joining Joe Biden. And remember, she was the border czar, joining Joe Biden in aiding and abetting the invasion of our country. And we're never going to stop talking about this, because what they did to this country is unforgivable. It is an eternal stain on the Democrat Party. Every day we read another story. Every day we arrest another alien they let into this country who raped a child, who beat a woman within an inch of her life, who murdered a mom, who murdered a dad, who trafficked drugs into this country, who trafficked fentanyl into this country, who are responsible for dead and slaughtered Americans. And I don't know what's broken in the Washington press corps, that none of that moves them emotionally. The only thing that gets them exercised is, do we need to have more trials for terrorist supporters? Do we need to have more trials for gangbangers? Do we need to have more trials for illegal alien invaders? Even though Congress and the Constitution clearly say that you can expel invaders and illegal aliens quickly, efficiently, and properly. This president has literally saved America, and I could not be prouder. I could not be prouder, as I know Caroline feels the same way, to come every single day to this building where we have a leader sitting in office whose first, last, and every thought is the safety, prosperity, security, and sovereignty of the citizens. That's an important word, people. Citizens of this republic.
Can you imagine any American being against what Stephen Miller just said, or against what this administration is doing? Now, Kamala Harris was on a little speaking tour last night. If you wanted to go watch her out in California, you got to pay $50,000 because everyone's got $50,000 just laying around, I guess. $50,000 or a small $50 fee if you wanted to join in the webinar, or you could have just waited till today and got the clips. So if you didn't pay the $50 or the $50,000, you really didn't miss much. She didn't really have much to say. It's a woman who says a lot, but at the same time, she says nothing. Don't take my word for it. Let's take a listen to what Kamala was talking about last night.
In fact, please allow me, friends, to digress for a moment. Okay. It's kind of dark in here, but I'm asking for a show of hands. Who saw that video from a couple of weeks ago, the one of the elephants at the San Diego Zoo during the earthquake? Google it if you've not seen it. So that scene has been on my mind. Everybody's asking me what you've been thinking about these days. Well,
I'm sorry for making you watch that, but I had to watch it, so you guys had to suffer with me and watch it. Do you ever wonder, there's some things that I wonder at night before I go to bed and I sit there. One of the things I've been wondering is what goes through Kamala's brain? What goes through her mind, through her head? If I had to imagine the inside of her cranium, it's just a merry-go-round. You know, the one you take your kids to at the park, what are those things called? But you sit on the horse and it goes up and down and it plays the cute little music. That's what I imagine. Or that stuffed animal that bangs the drums together just endlessly. I don't know what she was drinking last night, if she was drinking at all, but a sane person who's not seriously inebriated doesn't speak like that. She's had all the time to reflect on what she did wrong, her mistakes that she made, and how she can maybe save herself if she does want to run in 2028 again. Although it doesn't seem like she's learned much just based on seeing her last night. It's truly a travesty, to say the least. We pray for her and her well-being and hopefully her sobriety.
I hear every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
So with Mike Waltz's departure today, there's going to be some jobs that need to be filled, and some members of the administration will need to step up and help fill some gaps. One of them who's been doing an absolutely terrific job is Marco Rubio. I keep wanting to call him Senator Marco Rubio. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Some interesting information revealed this week from Rubio about a deep state operation that he's uncovered about the previous administration, starting a new dossier on somebody. Deep state operation that he's uncovered about the previous administration, starting a new dossier on somebody. You wouldn't say who. Take a listen.
Something else we got out of the business of, wasn't widely reported, or maybe it was. We had an office in the Department of State whose job it was to censor Americans. And by the way, I'm not going to say who it is. I'll leave it up to them. There's at least one person at this table today who had a dossier in that building of social media posts to identify them as purveyors of disinformation. We have these dossiers. We are going to be turning those over to these individuals.
Me or Elon? We can follow up with the media story.
Well, we are going to turn over these dossiers to the individuals, and they'll decide whether they want to disclose it or not. But just think about it. The Department of State of the United States had set up an office to monitor the social media posts and commentary of American citizens to identify them as vectors of disinformation, when we know that the best way to combat disinformation is freedom of speech and transparency. And so that's what we're going to be in the business of doing. We're not going to have an office that does that.
I wonder who it could have been. Dozens of files from the Biden State Department? I mean, that's absurd. Another dossier. Who could it have been on? Was it Elon Musk? You heard J.D. Vance there making a joke about that. Was it Elon Musk? Was it J.D. Vance? Was it Donald Trump once again? The first dossier wasn't enough? Back for another round? I mean, these people, they run the same playbook every time. And the Republicans are just not smart enough to catch on. You and I, as viewers of it, are sitting here like, guys, they got you in 2016. They tried again in 2020. They stole an election in 2020. 2024, what do you think they're going to try to do? Are they going to try to implicate somebody in some sort of false scandal? Like they haven't done that before? Or are they going to try to steal another election? You've got two options. Figure out which one they're trying to run, or both. Oh, man, these Democrats, I don't know where they come from. Not the smartest people. President Trump was on a town hall last night with Chris Cuomo, Bill O'Reilly, and Stephen A. Smith. And they got in the conversation because earlier this morning, late last night, the United States signed that mineral deal with Ukraine. Now, Russia is not happy about it at all. The mineral rights deal where America will own part of the rights to minerals and new projects regarding some rare earth minerals if Ukraine decides to do it, and what they already have existing. Russia not happy. President Trump met with Zelensky last week at the Pope's funeral in the Vatican. What better place to meet than the probably one of the most holy places on earth? He was asked about it. Take a listen to what he says he discussed with Zelensky, that they were now able to get this deal done that they couldn't get done a while back when Zelensky stormed out of the White House. Well, President Trump threw him out of the White House. But take a listen.
Yeah. What were you and Zelensky talking about when you were nose to nose in the Vatican?
I was telling him that it's a very good thing if we can produce a deal that you sign it, because Russia is much bigger and much stronger. Russia is just chugging forward. It's a big, strong country. By the way, not nearly as strong as the United States, because I rebuilt our military in my first term. They gave a lot of it away in Afghanistan, and Afghanistan is one of the reasons we had an incompetent president, grossly incompetent, He should have never been president. But we had a man that didn't know what the hell he was doing in Afghanistan, showed the stupidity of our leader.
So I guess good on President Trump, able to get a deal done to guarantee some of America's money that we've given these people. We've given them billions of dollars with nothing to show for it. At least now we're going to start, I guess, to maybe see some returns and have some money to guarantee what we've already spent. Speaking of guarantees, that Fort Knox audit that Elon and Trump were supposed to go do still hasn't happened. I guess that tells us all we need to know about how much gold Bob Menendez stole from Fort Knox. President Trump also speaking last night about something we talk about on this show, entitlements. Now, I get a lot of people who reach out to me after doing a show and they say Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare are not entitlements. Well, they are. The definition of an entitlement is something you're entitled to. It's not a bad word. It's you paid into it. When you're ready to take it, you're entitled to it. It's referred to as entitlements. So I'm not sure exactly what the mix-up there is with people getting upset with me for calling them entitlements, but it's what they are. They're entitlements. Nonetheless, we have an audience here, our demographic. We cater to the older folks, which I love. I speak with young folks all day long. So to cater to the older folks is an honor and a pleasure for me that you guys tune in and watch me. So that's why I like to talk about this. President Trump didn't touch entitlements the first time around. And he talks about this last night, and we're going to bring you the clip in just a moment at his town hall. Didn't touch entitlements the first time around. And I've been saying this since day one. And you know what? For all intents and purposes, we won't call them entitlements. Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. Okay. He didn't touch them the first time around. And I said from the beginning, I don't think he's going to touch them this time around. But he addressed it last night after being asked by Chris Cuomo about it. Take a listen.
Do you have a commitment for the American people in terms of how much you will protect those programs?
We're not doing anything with entitlements. And if you look at Social Security, and by the way, I think I'm better to say this than anybody because I did nothing with entitlements that would hurt people for 4 years. I could have done that. If I was going to do that, I would have done it 5 years ago, 6 years ago, or 7 years ago. I'm not doing anything. The only thing is, you say don't talk about waste, fraud, and abuse. There is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse. There are a lot of illegal aliens that are getting Medicaid that shouldn't be getting it. And nobody objects to taking people off Medicaid that aren't allowed to be there. But we are doing absolutely nothing to hurt Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security. Nothing at all.
Sorry, Marxist Dems. You guys have been lying and caught lying once again. It's from the man's mouth himself, folks. You can sleep well at night knowing that nobody's coming for your Social Security. I've been saying since very early on, since Doge started, I'm convinced that there's so much waste, fraud, and abuse in this government that nothing will happen to Social Security, Medicaid, or Medicare because so much money has been wasted. They'll be able to put it towards these three programs. So you can sleep well at night, folks, knowing that nobody's touching it. It's not going anywhere. You don't have to listen to Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries. They're lying. They're trying to scare you. It's what they've done for the last 10 years. Okay? Don't fall for it. Do not fall for it. Tulsi Gabbard, doing a hell of a job, in my opinion, was on with Megyn Kelly this week, and they're talking about a good friend of ours. It's a mad scientist, Dr. Anthony Fauci. I don't even know if I call him a doctor anymore. And the Wuhan lab leak. China is now coming out saying, once again, that it came from America, that the China virus was made here in America. Sort of interesting, right? Take a listen to what Tulsi Gabbard's working on right now in her office.
But the thing that we are working with Jay Bhattacharya, the new NIH director, on with, as well as Secretary Kennedy, is looking at the gain of function research that in the case of the Wuhan lab, as well as many of these other biolabs around the world, was actually U.S. funded and leads to this dangerous kind of research that in many examples has resulted in either a pandemic or some other major health crisis.
But let me ask you specifically, because we already know that EcoHealth Alliance was partnering with this Wuhan lab to do gain of function research.
That's right.
We just have never been able to have somebody say, it was that exact experiment that led to this COVID bug. But have we gotten there? What's the new thing that you're digging in on?
We are working on that with Jay Bhattacharya and look forward to being able to share that hopefully very soon.
Okay.
That specific
link,
correct, between the gain of function research and what we saw with COVID-19.
I mean, that would be extraordinary because just so the audience knows, if that's true, if it was Peter Daszak's research with the Wuhan so-called bat lady that caused this pandemic, then we did fund it. Then Anthony Fauci helped fund the pandemic.
The thing that he denied over and over and over to Senator Rand Paul's questioning.
That's right, under oath.
Under oath, exactly. So is it any wonder that he sought a preemptive pardon for anything during a certain period of time by President Biden before he left office?
And then strong-armed and smeared people like Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, anybody who came out and said, I don't know if that's natural. This actually smacks of lab.
And the reason why this is so important is not just what happened in the past. It's because this gain of function research is happening in biolabs around the world. I got attacked, and I think you saw this, we've probably talked about it on your show before, when I warned against US-funded biolabs in Ukraine when the Russia-Ukraine war kicked off for this very reason. Who knows what kinds of pathogens are in these labs, and if released, could create another COVID-like pandemic. And for that, I was called a Russian asset. You're, trumpeting Putin's talking points, all of this nonsense, simply for speaking the truth and stating facts that, by the way, are still on U.S. Embassy Ukraine's website today about how the U.S. has funded these biolabs in Ukraine. But my point is, in order to prevent another COVID-like pandemic or another major health incident that could affect us in the world, we have to end this gain of function research and provide the evidence that shows exactly why and how it's in our best interest, the American people's best interest, to bring about an end to it.
You hear that, folks? The House of Cards is starting to fall in on the mad scientist, Dr. Anthony Fauci. That little man, both metaphorically and physically. And what he did to this country, what he did to everybody. I don't even have to rehash it. You all know what we lived through during COVID. Your children couldn't go to school, couldn't develop. Your grandchildren couldn't develop like normal children. You had to go to mask everywhere you went, on an airplane, on a restaurant. They put up plexiglass everywhere you went like it was going to save the world. All because of that little mad scientist. He's got to be trembling right now knowing that we're going to find out just exactly what he knew, what he funded. Mr. Gain of Function Fauci. I hope you don't sleep well at night. And I'm being dead serious about that. What an evil man that guy is. Why? Why did he do that to people? For the control that he never had? He wanted some control. He wanted to be the man, the tough guy, the big shot, because nobody ever gave him power in his life. The preemptive pardon, we'll see what happens. Was it signed with that auto pen? I'm asking for a friend. Just curious. Folks, before we wrap up, we want to end on a light note. Tim Walz, often referred to as Tampon Tim Walz, was at the Harvard Kennedy School Institute of Politics this week. And he was talking about why he was chosen to run with Kamala Harris. I'm not even going to tell you why. I'll let you watch.
I knew I was on the ticket, I would argue, because we did a lot of amazing progressive things in Minnesota to improve people's lives. But I also was on the ticket, quite honestly, because I could code talk to white guys watching football, fixing their truck, doing that I could put them at ease. I was the permission structure to say, look, you can do this and vote for this. And you look across those swing states, with the exception of Minnesota, we didn't get enough.
Yeah, that's right, because Tim Walz screams manly man masculine like I've never seen before. I think you're more likely to see Tim Walz having a beer with Dylan Mulvaney, not just any beer, a Bud Light with Dylan Mulvaney. Nothing screams masculine like Tim Walz. Isn't he so manly? What a masculine fella. I feel like just a little boy when I watch videos of him. I hope one day to be as manly and masculine as Tampon Tim Walz, the man who installed tampon dispensers in men's bathrooms. I'd love to meet a man who ever had to use one of those because he belongs in the Guinness Book of World Records. Well, folks, I figured we'd end it on a light note here tonight. Happy May. I appreciate you guys tuning in to the first episode of May. Many more to come here. As always, we appreciate you guys tuning in to us each and every night. A reminder, if you guys are joining us on YouTube, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button right here at the bottom of the page. If you guys are on Rumble, please be sure to like and subscribe. Turn notifications on so you know when we're going live. You get the notification every night. If you can't make it, you can watch it whenever you have time. That's the nice thing about these podcasts. You don't have to be there right on time. You can catch up later. When you guys are doing the dishes, when you're doing house chores, when you're mowing the lawn, you can put a pair of headphones in and join us wherever, whenever, however, audio, Apple, iHeart, Spotify, wherever you guys get your audio podcasts. And on video, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Rumble. Did I say YouTube? At The Great America Show on YouTube. You can also follow us on our new Instagram page, at The Great America Show. We're going to be doing some giveaways coming up here very shortly. Some great new content as well on Instagram. Folks, we hope to see you back here tomorrow for The Great America Show, where our quest for truth, justice, and the American way continues. Until then, may God bless you, may God bless America, and may God bless the great Lou Dobbs. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Have a great night.